Well, it's been a good few years since we did our commentary on apparently a Predator movie.
And apparently, we have a rare occurrence. One of the few cases where one of the worst things released to mankind did not kill a franchise, and in fact, it came back stronger than ever.
Yeah, this is
I
one of
mean,
those franchises. Both this and Alien seems to actually have found new blood in Disney's hands, although with less, big scope projects, as before when they had Fox.
today we're covering not a theatrical release this time. That was released straight to Disney Plus / Hulu. The 2022 film Prey, directed and co-written by Dan Trachtenberg, who was mostly famous at this point for making 10 Cloverfield Lane and his previous project, a fan film called Portal No Escape.
Mm-hmm.
And as we mentioned, this was the first thing in general related to either Alien or Predator to be released on the Disney.
Well, as we
Right.
mentioned during the commentary on The Predator, this project was in the works for a while alongside The Predator. Originally it was supposed to be called Skulls, but it took a while to be made, and a combination of the buyout and the pandemic made so that Disney decided to forego a theatrical release and dump it directly to Disney Plus to both foster its lot on the streaming service, similar to what they did with Artemis Fowl, and to potentially avoid another theatrical release alongside the year, which would have clogged a couple of things and maybe would have not done not that much money.
It's possible they were worried too that the stigma of the previous release may have followed
Yeah,
it, even
possible too.
even though the Predator was last released in 2018, 7 years ago. Trust me, the stink of its infamy still wanes high. Like, heck, even Shane Black, the guy behind the Predator, is only apparently just this year releasing something after 7 years of pretty much going dormant.
This was a bit more interesting than normal because it's a prequel to all the other movies in the series, and it's also set during the times where the Native Americans were, in charge of things. Yeah, and it stars Amber Midthunder as Naru, a hunter in training.
Well, let's take a look then.
Alright, so start before the 20th Century Studios logo.
Mm-hmm.
In 3, 2, 1, click.
Like, again, 4 years after the last movie, I guess one might have to wonder what was going through their mindset. Though apparently they did keep in mind what Predators 2 established, essentially. That Predators have been coming to Earth for pretty much centuries. In fact, apparently there is a literal throwback to that movie in this one.
Well, specifically, there are a lot of callbacks to all the movies of the franchise, particularly a bit to Predator 2, as you will see. But I will preface by saying this: I don't think this movie is the best in the whole franchise, but it's definitely what the franchise needed after the Predator. Breath of fresh air and an actual, good movie with the mechanic of a Predator, hunting down without, stupid jokes.
That's the consensus I've garnered. This is by no means the Mona Lisa of filming, but for the Predator franchise, yes, it got it back on its feet. Apparently so well that 2 new projects were commissioned. One called Predator, Killer of Killers, and
which is an anthology, if I recall correctly. It's a movie, but in anthological format, sorry.
And then another movie called Predator Badlands, which is also coming out this year in November.
And has an interesting tweak on the series. The Predator is a good guy.
Right, Predator Badlands is going to apparently build up on the connection this has with the Alien franchise, seeing as how we have Elle Fanning in that movie playing a synthetic created by Weyland Yutani.
It's even better, Jova. The teaser showcased that among the alien skulls that the Predator got, as trophies, there's one from the aliens from Independence Day. So that might also be canon.
Beautiful.
Which honestly, I was telling that to Dweebs and Shiro during one of our Dark Souls stream. It's not too big of a stretch. The only real thing that you have to tweak is to basically just adjust to the fact that the United States government knew about alien contacts even before the first Independence Day, but that's kind of it.
I honestly don't mind making Predator kind of the central point of a lot of potential alien crossovers,
Potatoes.
since Predator is pretty much a crossover friendly character, someone who's after the best hunt essentially.
Well,
Bam.
plus the last Alien Predator crossover we got was naff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
At least in movie
That's-
format. The comics and the video games were technically a bit better at the very least.
We'll cover it someday, provided I can see anything going on in that movie.
Well,
But
they're all on Disney Plus, so we'll get there.
And in a nice bit of the old, handing over to the new, well, sort of. This film actually has a couple of fans from the original movie. Blaine and Mac, well, they're actors anyway, Jesse Ventura and Bill Duke.
Oh, but no Shane Black? What a shame. The whole gang
What
can't
a shade,
be there.
Black. Yes. This also, puts an interesting spin on things. So far, we've seen the Predator having to go against, people with guns starting from the 80s onward, So what would happen instead if the species, which I realized we never actually, called for what it's named for all our commentaries, the Yaulja, actually went against someone with relatively low tech instead. Again, this stuff happened in the comics, mind you, but this was for movie format for the people who actually, had not much of an experience with the expanded material that Dark Horse had provided.
Predator, like many old school franchises, did see a ton of expansion in material that just sadly wasn't as readily available or, wasn't as accessible. So, yeah, this is covering some ground here and there. That being said, there is some precedent that, obviously people with less tech could have succeeded against Predators, since in the first movie, Arnold kind of only really got the jump on the Predator when he did stuff more old school.
That was basically the key of, for his victory, basically forego all that he had and relies exclusively on, the rules of the jungle, basically.
Anyway, congratulations, girl. Thanks to your sacrifice to that dog, it will help you later in a cutscene. Actually, Predator would totally work for a Resident Evil collab.
I forgot, Dweebs. Well, okay, no, you don't know, but in general, I do wonder if there was a Yaulja for Dead by Daylight. I guess not, because by that point Disney owned the IP, so they were not super, happy to share crossover. As a reminder, Warner Bros. Currently still has to pay royalties to Disney for the inclusion of both, Predator and a Xenomorph in Mortal Kombat X, just to keep the servers online with them available as DLC, which is hilarious.
I swear, copyright. It's funny. Sometimes I hear stories about how anal copyright can be, and then I hear stories about how copyright can be so easy to fool.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Something fell from the heavens. Go on.
I think my favorite example is...
the movies appeared in the sky!
The title's attacking us!
Don't directing. Go on.
I think my favorite example of copyright evasion has to be Buried Alien. What's that, you viewers out there may ask? Well, back in the old days, Marvel basically used Barry Allen, essentially, when he was dead, essentially. Had this mysterious traveler from another world participate in a race to see who's the fastest over in the Marvel Universe. And then this guy, who, shockingly enough, looks like a bearded Barry Allen, has convenient amnesia, so he just refers to himself as Buried Alien.
Well, there have been several different occasions. First and foremost, when Marvel wants to use the Justice League without having to, have a crossover with DC, they have the Squadron Supreme, team that they can use. And conversely, DC has its own Avengers knockoff called, the Legion of Farangor or something like that.
Funny, since we're finally now back to a time when DC and Marvel are okay with playing ball with each other.
So, yeah, like we established earlier, going into this movie, the hype for it was, at best, cautiously optimistic that, hey, it won't be as shit as the last movie.
I distinctly remember my thoughts on basically being, this movie has the easiest job. Be better than the Predator.
It's kind of like what happened with the Fantastic Four movie released this year, basically.
Yeah.
For a second there, it sounded like Sarah Schatzner, the composer, was recreating the PS3 startup sound.
That being said, simply being better might not have done the job as well since, okay, yeah, as we can all agree, being better than the Predator is the equivalent of jumping over a 1-foot puddle, essentially. It's just that simple. No. This would probably need to be a bit more than just good, and from what I understand, one thing it does well is, like we've mentioned, mix up the formula a bit, essentially. Well, admittedly, it is once again humans versus predators, but it's interesting to see it through a different lens, and especially a different time date. A proud tribe who are used to being the hunters, but are about to be the prey.
TM. And
we literally had the copyright 20th Century Studios thing underneath the title.
And hey, if you think I'm too pedantic with the copyright, I would like to remind you that Bethesda was so adamant during the release of its version of Prey, which is a can of worms in how it came to be in the first place, that a game that was being developed at the same time, Prey for the Gods, had to change its title with the word Prey, changed to Praey. Y as a result to avoid that.
Man, poor Captain Marvel. Specifically DC's Captain Marvel. Copyright took his name.
The big cheese, yeah. In case you're wondering, because for the sake of taking advantage of the setting, eventually I forgot how decent it was. A version of this movie purely spoken in traditional Comanche actually was released. Virtually nothing changes outside of, the language spoken, so, if you have that version watching, you're basically not missing anything. It's not a different cut of a movie anyway. It's kind of like, if you watch Zack Snyder Justice League in black and white, basically.
Yeah, imagine if you locked content behind what language you speak.
I don't know. I hear almost tastes absolutely delicious this time of year. Nothing fuels enthusiasm like good old stubbornness. Just wanting to prove everyone wrong.
Our protagonist, let me check again her name just to be sure, Naru, skirts a bit the line of Disney princess, I want more in life, and I want to prove something to the establishment. But unlike, recent cases from recent years, I argue she's definitely more endearing as a character. You definitely understand more her plight and what she's going through.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking
and
of
yeah,
plight,
the movie wastes no time pretty much introducing the Predators.
Well, one cool thing that the Predator franchise tends to do with clever enough writing, it's nothing very super consistent as we've seen also in the movies, but in a lot of occasions, the Predator the Eulja species just interjects into a pre-existing conflict. Remember Predator 2, where, the species literally jumped in a metropolis which had a gang problem between, the police and different ethnical groups.
That is because they are tied basically to violence. Like, they notice something with the biggest, baddest fighters on the planet. That's their next target.
Not
basically.
to mention, it's the environment. For them, the hunt is everything. So, a good field, with potential chaos going around, is actually the perfect territory.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine. I can imagine the what the predators were saying to each other during their whatever meetings they have. All right, guys. I know it technically hasn't happened yet, But I saw into the future, and there's a bunch of posers going around, taking our name and ruining our reputation. So let's show what predators actually are.
Someone told me that they actually extract spinal fluids out of our big teams. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, again, this movie played it safe by being a prequel, but I'm pretty confident that going forward, future movies will only take selectively stuff from the Predator.
And yes, I know we take trophies, but they're easy to get. Just cut their heads off.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Yeah.
No, instead.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's just her.
You nearly killed the main character.
We don't want cooties on this expedition.
So basically, they're trying to find their tribal chief, it seems. It does seem like while she means well, she does have a bit of that stubbornness spunk where she can go a little too far in trying to prove a point, which I could see being used against her.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently, now apparently this film isn't quite historically accurate, but it's not to the extent of it kills immersion or anything. Like
Sorry,
apparently,
Tio, the rat
Circle
died.
of life, I know.
Yeah. Apparently, the Comanche didn't start riding horses on the regular until about 10 years or so after the events of this movie. And the original script apparently didn't include them, but Jane Myers, who was a producer and cultural consultant on the movie and was part of the Comanche Nation, said you can't have Comanche without horses. And they were put in the movie.
I don't wonder
Like
why they
his-
couldn't just, set the date of the movie, a bit forward to reflect that.
Yeah, like I mean, and it's okay. It is weird that someone to the filmmaker's credit, it was someone from the actual Comanche tribe who insisted on this. But yeah, I do have to agree with Tio. In this case, it's literally just as easy as maybe putting on a different date, unless there's like
It's not, again, as we've said, 10 years later, it's not that big of a difference, if you ask me.
Like unless they want to have
just a
scenes
little
set,
over 10 years, yeah.
Like the only reason I could see them sticking to a date is if they want to cover a certain event in history. Remind me, what year does this take place in?
1719, if I recall correctly.
1719,
Yeah, there you go. The only thing that matters is, something that will also serve as a callback to a previous movie. You'll see when it happens, Drova. But honestly, I don't know.
Also, speaking of producers, John Davis is still involved in this series. He's been involved since the start, and he's 71 years old.
Well, again, it
Goodness.
seems to be a case where, this person loves, the franchise through and through. And maybe at this point, he feels sorry for what happened with the Predator. Who knows?
Well, I mean, he has produced a load of other movies, ranging from good to bad. And one of them, the same year, well, about a year after the Predator came out, he was a producer on that Dolomite movie.
Oh,
Dolomite.
Yeah, I think
The one with Eddie Murphy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Eddie Murphy's comeback, thank goodness. So, yeah.
When I say bad, he was also involved in stuff like Richie Rich and Waterworld, so he's not perfect.
No.
So yeah, something messed that guy up pretty bad, and
But
we
not
assume
to
it's a
kill him.
lion.
And again, we as the viewer know in hindsight that the Aulja just love to exactly do this. Just wound something and use that as bait.
Killing isn't fun.
Well, not
Oh,
directly,
At
Dweebs.
first.
Remember, it's all about the sport of a hunt. It's
Basically,
not as easy as cut and dry. That's xenomorph stuff, And the Oja are more of an upper class kind of alien.
Basically, their one rule. Well, okay, they have a few rules. Like, obviously, if you don't pose that much a threat, they'll leave you be. If you're pregnant, they will also leave you be, since I guess they consider killing the young too inhumane. And ironically, that has kind of led to the rule that in every Predator movie, the female protagonist manages to survive each time. Probably not intentional, since they have been trying to kill the female protagonist at least in 3 and 4. But
Well, yeah, in
nonetheless,
Predator, if I recall
coinky
correctly, Predators did had at least one more female character that died.
Yeah, and to be fair, the pregnancy rule was only shown in 2, so they were
Yeah.
technically gunning to kill the female
It's also worth
protagonist in the
noting
first.
that the Predator in that movie at that point was heavily injured. So,
Okay, so that snake got skinned alive.
as is
Ouch.
tradition, or the species. Surprisingly, it wasn't hanged on a trunk on a tree.
Yeah, that's the thing. Noticeably, the predators in this movie seem much more willing to leave their victims alive but mutilated.
Okay, so either those colonialists have grown really big feet, or something else is going on here.
No, if I recall correctly, for now we're suspecting either a lion or a bear. A bear, there you go. Which
Yeah, first.
bear would be consistent because sometimes they're brutal and sometimes climb on trees for that.
Although, like Naru is pointing out, what kind of bear goes out of its way to skin a snake and leave it alive?
Maybe it really likes eating the skin. I don't know.
Like, typically, when a bear is hunting, it hunts to kill and eat. Oh boy. But yeah, Steele mentioned there's a lot of throwbacks to hint you in that, yep, we've got a Predator at work, essentially, with all the classics. Bone ripping, spine mutilating, and yes, definitely taking those trophies. It would be interesting if this movie implies that this is when Predators first discovered Earth as well.
No,
would
if I recall
explain why.
correctly, it has happened even before that. I don't remember when was actually first contact, but it has happened for a while.
Technically, actually, if we're really stretching it, apparently this film is actually not following up from The Predator. It's both from the Predator Holiday Special.
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently on Comedy Central, as well as on the DVD and Blu-ray of the Predator DVD of the Predator, there was a Predator Holiday Special which combined Predator and the Christmas TV special of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh God.
Oh.
And it stars Dave B. Mitchell as the reindeer, Xander Mobus as Sprinkles, and Keith Silverstein as Santa.
Oh,
How come I never
no.
heard of it?
Dare I ask if they was actually good somehow?
Apparently, yes.
Also,
Huh.
to answer
Okay.
you before Gemma,
Apparently, it's
Sorry.
meant to be a more non-serious comedic thing.
So Santa Claus is canon to the Predator universe. Good
I
to
mean,
know.
are you even surprised? Anyway, okay, I don't remember again when it officially was stated in the comics, for example, when First Contact happened, but the anthology movie that follows this, Killer of Killers, has the earliest contact being in the year 841 in Scandinavia, because Vikings are involved.
Ah. This predator really just likes to leave his mess all around the place rather than gather it up. It does make me wonder if this is probably more so them laying a trap for their potential next bots, and they've already got what they consider the best trophies.
I also appreciate that despite these being clearly a day-to-night shot, the color correction actually makes it more seamless.
Sounds fun.
Oh,
Oh,
you're doing a good job right now, I'm sure. Oh yes, they're absolutely murdering that animal. Good job. Good job.
I always find this kind of deaths funny. I'm going to kill that thing, but he doesn't even finish the sentence. I kill.
Surprise, surprise! That actually is a lion.
Specifically a puma.
Yeah,
the
mountain
predator, yeah.
lion.
Puma man, he flies like a moron. In case you're wondering why the CGI might not be super stellar, because this is a 65 million budget, so relatively modest.
I will say
plus,
65.
Plus, it's on Disney Plus.
I will say though, 65 million is not a terrible budget, especially for a movie that is coming off the heels of a bad one. Though it is a noticeable step down from the Predator's budget.
You'd also remember this was in development, not hell, but for a long time. And remember, according to also what we've said, the combination of everything, probably the initial idea was probably different than this, and was rewritten as it was going on.
All things considered, you came out looking pretty good for somebody who just fought a mountain lion on top of a tree.
Oh yeah, I'm not dead for a start.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Your medicine helped.
I mean, unless he was just worried that she might be dying or needed the help or something.
Yeah, we can't exactly go to a supermarket and get food.
There you go. Got the cat.
Well, yep. Took its head off and everything. Just like the Predator likes to. Well, all's well that ends
Congratulations.
well, I guess. They lived happily ever after with the mountain lion problem solved.
But what are we going to do for the other 1 hour 13 minutes?
Clearly bask in the glory of the credits.
Yes. with absolutely no
Damn.
people from foreign countries that try to meddle in the businesses.
Damn, all those
Uh,
credits for a movie that only lasts 27 minutes?
It's a Lord of the
It's-
Rings situation, Dreams, don't you know? Way to credit the mountain lion himself, don't you see?
Okay, with all due respect, honey, you are still recovering from a bad fall.
No, don't you see? I just had the mountain lion on the ropes.
Yes, absolutely. Had him right where she wanted him. Falling was just part of her strategy.
We
Why
can
are you
try
looking at
again,
me?
can't we?
Like, why did she turn to the camera for that?
It's to
Oh,
let
what did
us,
I
the
do?
audience, know that she feels great disturbance in the Force. I mean, shoot, now that I think about it, Predator could possibly work in Star Wars as well, since they're basically a timeless species throughout all of time. Maybe they did make it to a galaxy far, far away. And you're certain that this is all you being concerned for the safety of the tribe and not you being mad about your brother getting promoted to war chief while you didn't, right?
Don't you see? It's symbolic because everyone else is going the opposite direction, meaning that she's truly alone.
She walks this road alone with naught but her dog by her side.
She should have Batista's theme song. I walk alone.
Oh. Well, it's green but not acidic, so we can rule out xenomorph.
Yeah, Xenomorph's blood is more of how can I describe it in terms of color shade? It's not the same green. It's more lime green, while this is more aquamarine.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see that.
we'll have to wait for Alien Earth for more on that.
I will say, I'm a bit surprised of how much this Predator is taking its time. I'd have thought that, by the time we got to Tabe
Hey.
killing the mountain lion, that then it'd be dead.
Oh, speaking of which,
Well, there he is.
yeah, you must be really desperate if you think, a simple wolf slash coyote, chasing down a hare is, the pinnacle of, sport entertainment for you.
Unless he's doing that alien thing where they think that the dogs are our masters because we take care of them.
Well, really, considering, as established already in Predators, the species does have, their own dogs. Wow, you really suck. You managed to have the coyote get a bite out of you despite your invisibility. Okay,
so
to
maybe
be fair, can probably smell him, but still, Jesus, you must be really a rookie.
yeah, like apparently that coyote even got a bite out of him too.
Which, to be fair, yes, it is true that, for the different caste systems that were showcased in Predators, it might be possible that the Earth is kind of like of a training ground for them, rite of passage and all. So,
Damn, that coyote is putting up one of the best fights I've seen against a predator, but alas, he's no more.
so what samples of
I
DNA
think you
are?
got the point.
So what samples of DNA are you getting from Miss Pine?
The ability to howl at the moon.
Yay!
But yeah, like I've mentioned, I guess that predator wasn't trying to lure those humans since he seemed more content taking on that
Oh,
coyote instead.
They mentioned in the marketing specifically that what she's doing right now was deliberately inspired by the God of War games, a combination of Blades of Chaos and Leviathan X.
Yep, I see the inspiration. Meanwhile, that dog's wondering, is
What
this
the fuck is she
historically
doing?
accurate? Yeah, it's like, I see her throwing a stick, but she reels it in with a line. That's a new one.
What does this have to say about who's the real master? Oh, she got a bunch of rabbits, goddamn.
I guess with that new tool of hers.
We're having rabbit tonight.
Apparently it tastes really good if you cook it right.
Remember, Jova, as the Samwise Genji said, you just need it with some potatoes, so... No, but really, rabbit meat has to be cooked in a specific way because otherwise it's dry as fuck. So,
Yeah.
don't bother if you actually want to experiment.
So what's interesting is that, you know, aside from the mountain lion, we haven't yet gotten a human killed, which I think even by the time of the first movie, by like the 30-minute mark, we at least had, you know, a death by predator at
This
that
is more of
point.
definitely a slow pace type of story, if you noticed.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
like
let
we
me check.
know.
I guess they filmed actually in North America because this screams, Lord of the Rings New Zealand shot.
Oh,
I
yes.
don't think it was filmed in New Zealand.
Calgary, Alberta. There you go. And in the Stony Nakota First Nation land.
Yeah. Probably.
Confirmed. This species has a skull.
Brilliant. Alas, Wiley, I hardly knew you.
Uh-huh.
And as for the composer of this, Sarah Schnatchner, I don't know how you pronounce it again. Trachtenberg brought her on because he was impressed with her score for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I don't really remember the score for that, so I'll just, put it at face value. There's nothing particularly wrong with this, it's just that I argued the Predator franchise as a whole did not really add, in my opinion, a track that really stuck out.
Okay, so it's either Predator or White Man who's been skinning these buffaloes.
Ugh.
Yeah, that was the thing. A lot of natives often like to properly honor the animals that they hunted, essentially.
It's the whole thing that was, homaged in the first Avatar, with the Navi mentioning about respecting, the symbiotic relationship with the creatures of Pandora.
Yeah, typically the idea of a buffalo was to actually use every piece of that buffalo, not just skin it of its pelt. Which, yeah, if I recall correctly, I think that's also a scene from Dances with Wolves.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe this is a rookie training at this
Well, no,
point.
remember, it was also established in the first movie that bodies of water do interfere a bit with the camouflage system outside of the obvious thing about moving the water.
Mhm.
Ugh, why couldn't we have been given hover technology so we wouldn't make any footprints?
I will say this, though. One thing we do know is that with Earth specimens, it does seem like, at the very least, we do know that there are pros that do come down, essentially, since it's implied that the ones from 1 and 2 were definitely professionals at that point who had not really known defeat until that moment.
And probably by that point they had enough data about the human species to properly predict, what would have happened.
Predators! I wonder if
Oh,
that was supposed to be a look into how they do some training by bringing humans to their home planet as well, or if that was just their equivalent of a hunting game preserve.
That
uh, for,
probably.
for, for a second there I thought it was quicksand, but no, it's just a really well disguised puddle.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the same object that our protagonist had collected from before, which I think it's a cigar.
Which implies that it's probably white men who came through here. Now, okay, it's the 1700s. I don't know if. Okay, this is well before the
Perhaps French
Revolutionary War.
colonialists.
Yeah,
French, yeah.
that's
One
right.
of which whose name you might recognize.
Not Napoleon, since this was before he would sell America pretty much half of the United States with the
Okay, well,
Louisiana
wait,
Purchase.
is it quicksand actually, or is it just really thick mud?
It's the swamp of eternal sadness, Lives.
But no horse to
Well,
claim it, thank
Thankfully, no
goodness.
Artax to actually traumatize
I
the
mean,
people.
I'd be sad too if I died in this.
There are better and also worse ways to die, Lives.
Well, crud.
There you go. Much more stable.
Hopefully, the rope sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Snap. Yeah, all in all,
Bit
they
of
could
a
be going
bummer,
better.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, this taught her an important lesson about the environment.
And watching
Don't
where you
swim in
step.
mud.
Well, yeah, watching your step, basically. Oh.
Right, doggy.
Grizzly bear.
Okay. Nice and quiet. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You missed your QTE. Now you'll die.
God, it's like in the Cabela games.
That is a good loyal dog you've got there.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen to it.
Hmm.
It's just an expendable companion in a movie about, reinforcing connection with, people and animals around you. That has never
Probably
been used to manipulate the audience in Hollywood movies.
Probably doesn't help that ironically the predator dogs in 3 and 4 have at the very least had one of their own die too.
But remember, what happens in the Predator with the Predator dogs is just absurd.
It really is. Like, shoot, I didn't really like the Predators, but the fact that they went with a completely different dog design, which was the equivalent of sticking
It's
a
not even
human's
that.
head
The
onto a
fact
human
that
dog.
one get killed super easy, the other gets either lobotomized and spends the rest of the movie just as a plot device to carry around objects. It's like an inventory.
Pretty much, yeah. At that point, Death might have been more gratified.
But what's this? Something has disturbed the grizzly. Something else. It's the old jaw.
Oh.
Yeah, definitely a rookie that wants to,
He's like, what
make
the
a
fuck
name
is
for
this
himself.
shit?
You know, okay, if this was at a point where they didn't deem humans the most dangerous thing on the planet, then that would ironically mean that she would have been better off just leaving this guy to his own devices. Oh! The bear actually
Nice.
had that guy down for a bit.
As you can see, also, it seems that this particular Predator doesn't have the same amount of tech than the others.
Which means either he's intentionally doing this on hard mode, God, he
Yeah,
literally bathed himself in his
like
enemy's blood,
remember, it's all
or
about the hunt, so...
it does make me wonder if this also implies that predators may have also had to advance their own technology. Like, maybe this was at a point where their tech
No,
was
they
less
already had
advanced.
that tech. Like, again, if I remember correctly, the whole point is that this is a rookie that needs to make a name for himself.
So this were a video game. Is she on like level 4 right now?
But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be funny if it turns out this guy legit fought animals with the toughest thing, so if her interference is what causes him to go after humans, that's a whoopsie. And yeah, now she legit has to worry about an enemy she can't see coming.
I mean, didn't know you were there.
I did notice her as she was running away.
Well, his ass is dead.
Guys, are you? Oh, help here!
She really likes to bite.
Huh.
And now you've shown that you can be very violent. Which means,
This is also the weapon. That's
Yeah.
what the device
You've got
was
a big
kind of.
pointy stick. You must be dead.
So this legit means it's kind of on her that this predator now has an interest in humans. Goodness. Where we'll all be alive, for sure. And that's how it starts, splitting up.
It's like rule one of these movies. If you split up, you're fucked. Well, the main character isn't, but the rest of you are. Of course, that's implying the Predator had a main character.
Technically speaking, sniper guy. I keep forgetting his
Really?
name.
I thought it was. What's her name?
The scientist.
Okay, it was.
She literally shoots herself in the foot. Like
And that's the thing.
co-protagonist, yes, but nothing more than that. Oh, poor possum.
Electric hum. Electronic hum, I should say.
Oh, there's the shoulder cannon.
I guess he was waiting to bust out the main tech
It
for the
also
real
consumes.
threat.
It also consumes energy, so I guess saving for a special occasion.
Ew.
Dead. Oh!
Yeah,
Huh.
this one actually shoots needles, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. It's interesting, but it seems like this predator is using relatively primitive versions of the usual predator tech we see.
It ultimately depends on the writer, what kind of
Can I have
level of
what?
challenge they would have.
Yeah, these are the only arrows I have. Can I have them back, please? Thank you.
Well, hey, replenish your ammo. This guy does not seem to mind getting punctured and bleeding, and
This scene was in
so
the
this
trailer
one.
too. Yeah, this one doesn't even have the traditional mask, but an actual skull. That's probably why the original title was Skulls. Maybe had one or more predators with that kind of mask.
Have they made it a point that they're keeping in the continuity from the older comics and the newer stuff, or is it possible that they may, be
I don't
changing up
remember.
some things? Now, I do know that apparently some things in this movie apparently did take inspiration from a comic, but we're not to that point yet. That said, I'll admit, a predator pretty much wearing the animal skull on its head is pretty badass.
Ooh.
And yeah, this movie, in case you were wondering, is definitely R-rated.
Which is definitely an improvement from The Predator going PG-13. Well, except for that R-rated version, if I recall correctly.
And also to showcase, even before Deadpool and Wolverine, that Disney did not had too many problems, involving themselves with R-rated movie inherited from Fox.
Oh.
So yeah, similar to the first Predator movie, almost the entire team is dead already.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Smart move. Smart move.
Run away! Run away!
Ironically, that can sometimes convince a predator you're not worth it.
And so it seems
Sometimes, though.
everything was done for Naru, when suddenly the CGI animator had a heart attack. I mean, considering how at this point little the SFX artists were, paid and treated, so
They definitely are taking advantage of that predator's invisibility mode a lot in this movie, I see.
to be fair,
Although,
Jova,
The only thing that can slightly affect it is water and being hit.
that's kind of what happened also in the first movie. I don't remember how much the budget of that was, but it was, an 80s movie, so CGI would have been expensive to mask properly the effect.
to their credit, I think the predator costume was mostly practical, so they didn't have to worry
It was more
too
about
much about
showcasing the
CGI.
camouflage, remember?
Yeah.
That reminds me, I don't remember if it's mentioned who actually does the Predator Grunt in this.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. You've got him for sure.
Absolutely.
No, he's got you.
There you go.
I don't even know where he is. He's cheating.
As far as predators are concerned, even if they're invisible, the fact that they let you know they're there is considered fair game enough.
The person in the suit is Dan DiLiegro, which this was his film debut. He had been in TV stuff the years prior, but this was basically his big thing. He was also later on in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, VHS Beyond, and Werewolves.
But hey, just like how she freed that dog earlier from the trap, now she's in that trap.
Ugh, that is going to leave a mark.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. Uh-oh.
Oh shoot, the French dip.
Jesus.
Ah, French.
A woman? What is she doing here? I'm gonna get her.
Yeah.
My subtitles don't have a
No,
English
it's
translation.
instead in pure French. I was just roughly translating, and I mean roughly because my French, like I said, is super rusty. But I was roughly getting what they were saying. And to be fair, body language and situation should be indicator for you too.
Well, it's just been one thing after another this day, hasn't it, Naru?
But now she's with the worst kind of threat.
The
Man.
French. In case you were wondering, it was not particularly pretty what he said.
Oh dear.
I see one person smoking the cigar, that must be the guy. To be fair, she has only that field of reference, so she has never seen, but it's a bit comical.
That guy who was talking to her just a bit ago,
Mm-hmm.
you remember that Italian guy that they referred to in Predator 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Raphael Adolini? This is him.
Yeah.
Played by Bennett Taylor.
So they got
So yeah,
not an actual Italian to play the Italian, I see.
let me see. Now, yeah, apparently this was a character alluded to as early as Predator 2 and later showed up in the comic book Predator 1718.
So 1 year before
apparently,
this. I think maybe that's the significance of the date, I guess.
yeah. And, to his credit, Taylor apparently did read that comic book as basis, so even if they're apparently ironing stuff out of continuity, apparently they do consider that comic book canon. So we have here an Italian who translates for the French.
And he's played by a
Canadian.
Canadian.
Okay, if I recall correctly, this was at a point where the Italian, I'm sorry, where Italy and France were relatively on
Italy had
good
not been
terms.
formed as a country yet. It was still a collection of states, although it was reassessing, the combination of things. The concept of the idea of Italy was a thing, and it wasn't because the peninsula was labeled like that, but not as a state.
Great. So even more advanced tech weapons for that Predator to get ideas
The
from.
thing is that similar to Predator 2, this is a very, numerous group, so if he wants to get results, he needs to divide and conquer.
In hindsight, maybe it wasn't my best plan.
Oops.
Well, crud. Well, at least the
Behind
horses get to
you.
go free.
Oh.
Who has arrived? Shoot Lambert. Rambert, there you go. It's his name. Shit.
Yep, I know that one.
It's there.
I love it. This time it chooses to show up all slow and menacing to let them know the end is there. Although, to be fair, some of that might be from the wind messing with stuff.
Yeah.
Hate wind.
Ow.
And
Ash from the
Ash.
cigar smoke.
Don't you see? This is clearly, subtle allusion to the fact that in the Predator, the species is concerned by the fact that we're, bound to get killed by the rising climate, clearly.
Of course,
So
and this is what starts their mission to save us, just so that they can stock up on our spinal fluids. So is this a practical costume they got him wearing, or is the Predator
Yeah,
mostly CGI and he
it's
does
it's
the
a
voice?
practical costume, but they CGI'd the effect of obviously the camouflaging. If you see, there
Of
are
course.
photos on set with Dane talking to the director while in costume.
Nice. Now, interestingly enough, he apparently has played for basketball teams in Italy. He's actually both a United States and Italian citizen, so we technically do have an Italian on
But
the
not playing
cast.
the actual Italian. Again, I don't understand the logic of this movie. Especially considering they bother to have some level of accuracy with the rest of the cast.
Well, look at that. The Frenchman actually caught it.
Remember, again, the
well,
one big weakness of a Predator has always been, the numbers. Sure, the tech is a thing that can help, but if the adversaries are too many, oh yeah, of course, the net. There you go. The adversaries are too many, it might be a problem. But for
not for
this
this one
case,
apparently.
yeah, even if the tech is not as advanced as in the other movies, it's still, enough to go against these guys.
Oh, that guy legit wants to solo that Predator one-on-one.
Well, that could have gone better.
He tried.
Also, yeah, this shield is another callback to the God of War modern
Oh yeah,
games.
sure. Unloading a full view of him. That'll go down well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about guns back in the day. It took a long time to reload.
When,
That said,
when was the Winchester invented?
I think in the 1800s, let me check.
Because that was like the pioneer of, multiple shell, rifles.
1866.
So, like, it's 150 years after this.
Yep. Again, I'll give the Predator credit. He was sporting enough to let them reload. Is that supposed to do something?
Brutality.
I hated that tree anyway.
Yes, because your plans have been doing so well, sis.
Hey, it's the gun! Remember the gun? The one from the movie 2? I do wonder if that was a deliberate callback to what happens to the human bad guy in the Predator where he accidentally shoots himself.
That would not surprise me. And hey, that's one way to give an homage without saying blatantly, we wanted to remind you about the Predator. But yeah, that's the ironic thing about a lot of fights like these. Honestly, if humans could stay coordinated enough with a Predator, they could overcome it. The problem is just the absolute sheer terror that Predators tend to induce to the point where people panic and, well, don't think coordinated enough.
It's also part of a hunt, induce chaos as a tactic in order to take advantage of that. It's a shame that a lot of the video games, the solo Predator video games, did not fully took advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Concrete Jungle was the closest he got to that. I don't remember how Hunting Grounds actually went through, but the AVP games tended to also recreate a bit of this kind of effect, but you have to contend also with the other two factions.
Mm-hmm. I think still my favorite one-on-one fight with a Predator has to be the climactic fight from Predator 2. Not just because it goes over different locations, but it actually does showcase how one can get the drop on a Predator who just gets too cocky itself, essentially. Uh-oh.
Remember this tech, in case of emergency, the Predator can actually activate the gauntlet to do something.
Okay, I think I see what's this
Do you think we
Predator's
should
tech.
run?
It's
Yeah, run away.
sorcery?
They were killed by Hans Zimmer.
But yeah, I think I see this Predator's tactic now. He starts relatively prehistoric, older with stuff, but the more difficult things get, the more he uses more modern tech from the usual stuff we see Predators use.
Again, it's a part of the whole hunting process, step in the game and all. Oh, She found back the dog.
It's another interesting change because, if I recall correctly, throughout the whole of the first movie, we see the Predator using pretty much all his advanced tech.
I love the dog. I'm gonna skin it like a beaver. Lovely.
I do find it weird that they don't subtitle the Frenchman.
They probably want to give
as
much as an authentic look to the movie as possible. This is why they exist a version, in Comanche. Again,
it's weird because they do give subtitles.
It's an effect similar to what Mel Gibson wanted to go through with The Passion of the Christ, where the characters speak exclusively in Hebrew and Latin.
I guess the idea is that while they do translate stuff that the Comanche say, the idea is to play it strictly from their perspective, where we can understand what they're saying, but not what these guys are saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that's everyone.
There you go, attack a bit similar to the one in the second movie to fix the wounds. See, it's a parallel!
We're both injured, you see?
And both of them are treating their wounds. Oh, I guess it wasn't everyone.
Raphael. He's alive, but he might not be for long. So, will the Italian be the one white man who survives in this movie?
We said please.
That's the magic word. Ooh. So, Raphael Adolini, was he like a big fan favorite character from it, aside from being in the comic book too?
Remember, Joba, he was the owner of a gun. He was either written on it. That's who we knew he was part of from the second movie.
Oh, I know that, but I'm wondering, was he like a big fan favorite though? Like, aside from just owning the gun and being
not
guy.
as I know, Joba. It's basically the equivalent of what Solo does in explaining how things went into place.
Okay, so I'm just wondering if it would really rub people the wrong way if this guy dies or not.
Not
But to be
really. The
fair,
Predator franchise is all about essentially a gigantic anthology of how these aliens not shaped history, but intervening key moments.
and
So
to be fair, the fact that the Predators had his pistol kind of implied he was a goner anyway.
mhm. You will see what happens by the end of the movie, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Medicine.
Yeah, but it's the one that she used to heal also the other member of her tribe at the beginning of the movie.
Trust me, dude, her leaving you might actually be your best shot.
Oh no,
Play dead.
the possum. To be fair, okay, he doesn't know, but remember, the Predator does have infrared visual.
Although
Speaking of which,
he did say he was feeling cold though, and apparently that's cold enough for the Predator not to sense him.
hmm but the trail actually was still hot of the blood from the leg.
Which means he might be able to sense her.
Meh, he's dead.
If I recall correctly, it's supposed to be a mechanism that gives them the heat vision, not like their natural eyes, is
They
it?
have like I think a bionic implant or something. I forgot. Again, I forgot that it's been a long time since I read the comics.
It's like I could have sworn it was the helmet that did it, but he's clearly not wearing the
Oh,
typical helmet.
Oh,
Oh,
poor
well,
bastard.
damn.
you thought you could fool me with that trick, could you?
Hey, here's the dog.
Smile for the camera, doggy.
Oh yeah, the skull did had the tech in it. That's why I cannot see
So,
properly because yeah, the Ouija normally do not have a great eyesight.
okay. So I was right. It is the helmet. It's
Yeah,
just that this
again, it's also
guy.
been a while since I watched the movie. I watched it when it came out, and that's it.
Right. So this guy basically customized his helmet literally with the animal skull. That is still pretty metal, I'll admit. Dude, you're not supposed to reveal my face until the very last fight.
Well, don't you see? It's like like the superhero movies where we need to have the characters show their faces to show the actor behind all the time.
Yeah, will you stop cheating?
Oops. Yeah, that's the thing about those pistols. Typically only one shot. Okay, you were just showing off with that one, bud.
Yeah, don't exaggerate also too much, otherwise it happens like before and it explodes in your face.
Mm-hmm. I forget if it was Shane
He's
Black or
behind me,
somebody
isn't
else.
he? Yeah, there you go.
Literally right behind you.
I don't remember what time of the day the climax of the Predators actually was, but I think remember that it was at least partially at night as well.
I'm pretty sure that was at nighttime. It's just that the
Well,
last shot was
for
at daytime.
that alien planet they were anyway on.
Interesting. The gun does not light up. Usually those do.
Ah, you thought I was dead?
Alright,
Okay,
let's
no.
make sure you're dead.
She's Batman
Someone
now.
took. I was gonna say someone took lessons from Batman. I mean, if this is during that time where he was time traveling, maybe. Well, congrats. Now your brother's dead too. So, yeah. Not good news for the mother.
No.
Which again does lead to the tragic irony that, okay, maybe that predator would have eventually found humans, but you do have to wonder if she had just left things alone, would the predator have just moved on? Probably just to the white men, if anything.
No one can tell.
Oh, hello. Doubt you're going to hit him from that range with that flintlock, honey.
Pretty much, I'm pretty sure she doesn't know.
It's sadly the best weapon she's got now. One given from the men who kept her captive, of all things. Which would actually be an interesting spin. Like, whereas with the first Predator movie, Arnold had to, go way back, use more primitive tech. It'd be interesting if she instead has to modernize using newer tech instead of the
As showcased,
way.
she did use already one of the tech from the Predator, the thing that was stuck in the Italian's leg. Oh.
Revenge.
You don't know the mistake you're making. I'm gonna plant up, a bullet in your head. You're gonna die, dog.
Yeah, like she was gonna leave you a loaded gun. But you do make nice bait.
Pardon me, miss.
Oh, he's
You-
all yours.
Well, should quit while you were ahead.
Ha. We did it. The Predator beat racism. Hooray.
The Predator
Beautiful.
defeats colonialism. Ow. Hey, I killed those guys that were going to try and colonize you.
Yeah, how do I know you weren't just going to kill me next? Okay, so it looks like we will have our final climax at night after all.
And of course, again, she also does the uh, her own trappings a bit similar to Arnold. What Arnold did. But she went to steal his helmet for a specific purpose, you will see.
Hmm.
Never has there been a more epic sounding battle. Not since Winston Churchill and the Velociraptor. You took my mask off. That wasn't. Ah!
Good dog.
I was going to say that wasn't very nice.
Oh, and you've just been the absolute pinnacle of manners, absolutely, with disemboweling people.
Hey, I give him a fighting chance.
So yeah, now the Predator now doesn't have one arm. Uh-oh.
See? Not as armless as you thought.
Interestingly enough, also a bit of a throwback to Predators 2, where the main character manages to disarm him while he's trying to activate the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's taking his time with this one. Oh! Gonna need to check out whatever dentist you guys have got back home. Right, so you've torn off his arm and you've given him a literal toothache now. I think he might be pissed. Please throw it just like in Metal Gear Rising.
She's going to choke him to death instead. Well, okay, there we go. Well, yes, yes. Now you will drown in that mud that nearly drowned me.
Wait for it.
Really? You think the proud predator race would be destroyed by mud?
I mean,
Fool.
it
I
was
am
worth
too
a try. And see,
We were born in mud.
it's the opposite. The first movie had Arnold covered in mud, but this time it's the Predator cover it.
See, it's all in the prophecy.
Oh, fuck. And yep, the predator killed itself.
Oh, ain't that a real kick in the head?
I don't think we can eat it, though.
No.
First time for everything.
It'd be like District 9, where we eat it, we gain its power.
As she brought back the head.
Yeah, it was mentioned. Well, a couple of people noted that it was super telegraphed at the beginning. They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna go and get the biggest, trophy head possible," and this was going to be the payoff.
Surprise!
Okay, that doesn't count. We don't even know what we don't know what it is.
I'll go back, find the rest of its body. You'll see how big it is.
There you go. There's the.
Raphael Adaloni.
It does beg the question on why did the Olja manage to head back in their possession by the end of Predator 2, but you can basically surmise with, one of the descendants actually lost it to them.
And now she's the new war chief.
And that's it. I don't know. I'm not sure there's a post.
No, I don't think
I don't think there's a post-credit scene.
But there's still, stylized credits, nonetheless.
Mhm.
So, final thoughts in the meantime, Dweebs.
It wasn't hard to top the previous movie. But yeah, I did enjoy this one a lot. After how really convoluted everything was getting by the last film, it was nice to see things stripped back a bit and made a bit more simple. Maybe you could add some more complex stuff later on. And hey, no weaponizing autism. That's I can't really have to give it praise for that. But
There's also again, it was kind of predictable, in a way, but it's also appreciated that they don't go the easy route by having the natives, thinking that the Aulja are gods descending on the earth, rather than they think they're more like monsters similar to, cryptids.
and yeah, it's not my favorite film in the series, but But, I think it's a good solid entry and a good stamp from Dan Trachtenberg on the series, along with all the cast, of course, as well.
Oh,
But,
what's this?
Yeah, it gives basically the teaser that more will come. But if I recall correctly, it hasn't been really followed.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the main focus is on, the film that just came out.
Killer of
Killer of
Killers, like I
Killers.
said, it's an anthology that spans through different parts in time and then converge at the end.
I was led to believe that Killer of Killers was a series, so now it'll be simple enough to go to that.
I don't
next
remember
week,
if it was supposed to be a series originally and then they converted, but again, the way the movie is structured, it's more, again, as a piece-by-piece scenario. I have still yet to see it, but that's why I remember it is.
Alright, that's it for me. It was a good time.
Jova.
Yeah, I'll go next. I will say this. I wasn't entirely sure what to expect. All I knew was it was better than The Predator, and let's be honest, that's not a hard mark to do. Having seen the movie itself, I'm going to say it's overall a good time. If you want just a good old classic Predator romp where, pretty much everyone but the main protagonist, who in this case also happens to be the female protagonist, so hey, 2 for 1, survives, bam, you got it. I will say it is a bit weird in some cases. Like, okay, at least now I can surmise why they were insistent on keeping it to 1719 despite some of the historical inaccuracies because of the character. Although, I don't know, maybe you could have implied he lived for 10 years. I don't know, like, he dies either way in this
Again,
run,
I don't remember the details, and I don't even remember how canonical are the comics in relation to the movies. I don't think it's a situation like Star Wars where everything is canon, but I don't think it's either Star Trek where nothing outside of the movies is canon. So I think it's a in-between kind of thing.
What we do know is that they were blatantly going for that character from the comics to the point where the actor even read the comics
It's
for
nothing too
that.
dissimilar to what Disney has been doing in canonizing old expanded universe material in new Star Wars products, like stuff from Knights of the Old Republic, for example.
If I recall correctly, outside of crossovers, Predator didn't get too many comics, so those might be easier to implement.
It had basically ongoing lines similar to Aliens. Dark Horse had an exclusive contract with 20th Century Fox to produce, Predator comics, and they had, consistently robust lines of both solo titles and crossovers.
Okay, I'm gonna say for now we can give them the benefit of a doubt that they're probably keeping the comics canon until we get something that blatantly cancels them out. But what I found the most strange is the Predator. Now, I can't quite tell if the idea was for the Predator to use older tech than what we will see Predators later use. Like, maybe they were also working on their technology, or does the Predator just like to up the ante little by little? Because he has some tech that we will see later on, but okay. Going off of the Predator, apparently the Predators do see an update in their technology over time too, so maybe this was implying that some of the Predator tech was older here and there now, at least to give, the natives more of a fighting chance back when we didn't have as much tech. One interesting idea I did get is maybe Predators took some inspiration from humans in regards to updating their tech, since it seemed to imply that the Predator did gain some ideas from witnessing humans using weapons here and there. I did find it, though, the most weird that this Predator didn't start with humans. He started with animals. At first we think, oh, this is him luring. That being said, the action's good. The effects, in spite of the limited budget, are good overall. I'm glad that we're back to, once again, using a practical actor instead of having whatever the heck that CGI monstrosity in the Predator was supposed to be. Oh, right. The next advanced Predator.
Super Predator, whatever the hell it was called.
The music is good. It suits its purpose. It's not something I go out of my way to buy the soundtrack for, but again, it gets just things right for the tension here and there. The character throwback with Raphael Adolini is nice. Again, personally, assuming this guy was a big deal, I probably would have had him do more in the plot, essentially. But, again, I don't have the biggest attachment to him. Like, let's be honest, it's mainly his gun that's going to make you go, oh, I know what that is, essentially. So I kind of get how they handled him, even if it may not have been the ultra best. Which I think can pretty much describe how I feel about this movie as a whole. I don't consider it the best movie in the series, but to its credit, it's a good installment. It doesn't do anything particularly amazing, essentially, but it does stuff just right. Our main protagonist does seem like she could go into annoying girl boss territory, but no, she's actually well handled, She has wants, goals, and she never gets too annoying about wanting to prove herself, essentially. The only irony I do find is that maybe if she had just left well enough alone, the Predator might have ignored them, but, we gotta have a plot one way here or there, and, she did mean well the whole time. It is nice to see that she and pretty much most characters who do fight are capable. Heck, even the Frenchmen might have been able to beat that Predator if they were better coordinated, but unfortunately, that's the thing. When you first encounter a Predator, you tend to not think straight because it defies all logic that you're aware of. At least in regards to this. Now, in other crossovers, certain characters were more ready for the Predator because they had seen some crazy stuff. God, that poor Predator never had a chance against Batman. But, overall, say this is a good movie, and it's nice to see that it managed to reignite the franchise to the point where we're getting 2 new installments this year, essentially.
And
From what I
apparently
heard,
there is an actual sequel to this movie in the works, so they're probably still gonna follow, the ending from this.
So yeah, again, I guess congratulations are in order for this thing managing to salvage the franchise after the damage the Predator did, essentially. And I look forward to what comes next. Which leads us to your final thoughts, Tio. Close us out.
Again, it's perfectly fine. I still overall prefer Predators and the original, Predator movie over this, but this is perfectly competent in raising the bar again after what happened with the Predator, and I make the argument that even if the Predator had never existed, this would have not lowered the quality in any case after Predators, if you ask me. This is perfectly serviceable, it's a neat piece of continuity that slots in along with the rest. Again, it's similar to what's happening also with the Alien franchise. Disney wisely decides to wait a bit before pumping out big AAA made movies in order to revitalize those franchises, while instead it was focusing on stuff like James Cameron's Avatar when it came to the major properties. And so far it is paying off. We'll have to see if it holds up in the future, but definitely this franchise is actually in a better shape than it was while Fox was still in charge. So there is that. As for anything else, it's not much more that I can add. Yes, the protagonist may come across potentially a bit annoying, but I argue she's perfectly instead fine. I've argued the context perfectly justifies her behavior. But Predator not using the usual tech, but just a lower version of it. For example, in this movie, he doesn't even use the self-destruct or the voice camouflage, tech. But it's still relatively competent, and the fact that the audience lacks part of the context, why this Predator is here. Like I said, it's very likely he's just a rookie. That's why starts from low and and grows from there in terms of hunting the game, and doesn't have the same kind of tech. But the fact that we do lack part of the context, serves to not have the audience caught up with everything and be, potentially partially just in the same shoes as our protagonist. So there is that.
Well, you're saying that did make me wonder. It would have been nice if we had gotten a shot similar to Predators 2, where we see the other Predators regard her, and at least hint that this Predator was like her, trying to prove himself, whereas Surprisingly, we don't get that establishing
Instead,
shot. It's
instead at the end we get the idea that instead the rest of the youth job will actually go back potentially for vengeance. Maybe it's a case where by the time of Predator 2, the species have come to respect more humans, while at this point they didn't, potentially. There's a common
that would be my best
interpretation
guess.
that
Yeah.
the reason the Predator left our protagonist, stay there, stay alive, as long as she did up until the up until the two-third mark of the movie, was because, he believed that she was not a threat, and as a result, she was not capable of harming him, even though, she demonstrated to be capable of doing almost immediately. Still, like I said, it's a perfectly fine movie on its own. We'll see what when the sequel event, eventually happens, what's gonna happen. But for the time being, the next time we'll actually go back to the franchise will be with the anthology movie Killer of Killers. So see you for that.
See ya.